Here you go, one versatile forward who can do some interesting things offensively. Have a great day. Thank you. Oh, sorry, sir. I ordered a Pascal Siakam. What's this? Oh, yeah, we're out of Siakam. So that's PJ Washington. Okay, no, I wanted a Siakam. Can I speak to a manager? I hate to be that guy, but sure. Thanks. Sorry about that. What? Hi, sir. Yes, I ordered a Pascal Siakam, and instead I got PJ Washington, which I don't really want. Yeah, did you not hear the kid? We're out of Pascal Siakam. All right, this is the next best thing that we got. Yeah, sorry. Oh, before you even start, listen. I know who you are. You're desperate. You didn't take the forward position anywhere near as seriously as you should you have? And now the league is going big again, and you're small, and you're running out of options, and the trade deadline is days away. You're desperate. You're going to take PJ Washington. And you're going to like it, because you don't have much of a choice, do you? In fact, you might even overpay for it. We also have a Grant Williams, if you're interested in that. No, I actually think I'll take the PJ Washington. All right, thank you. PJ Washington is one of the more interesting players available at this year's trade deadline. And I say interesting because I don't really know what to make of him. Now, I already recorded 20 minutes of this video, but the audio is fucked up, so I'm going to keep this part short and sweet. There's not a great statistical argument for PJ Washington being a great player. In fact, you could make an argument that PJ Washington is not a good player. Pretty much no advanced analytics like him. He has a 55% true shooting this season, which is in the 32nd percentile. He's only had 1 year in his career where he has been over league average when it comes to efficiency. But a lot of PJ Washington's arguments come from the eye test, and I went back and watched a lot of Charlotte Hornet games in preparation for this video. So if you guys could show some love, I would greatly appreciate it. What makes PJ Washington interesting? His defensive versatility for sure, but his offensive versatility is really kind of what jumped out to me watching these games. He's been an up and down shooter throughout his entire career, and he's trending downwards as far as shooting three-pointers goes. He's at 25% this season on corner threes, which is a problem, especially if he gets traded to a good team that generates a lot of corner threes. But I can write that off as being a weird statistical anomaly, considering he shoots 37% on corner threes throughout his career. The Hornets generate the 9th fewest corner threes, a sign of their just absolutely anemic and horrible offense. But PJ Washington could do some other things offensively that makes him pretty interesting. He was one of only a few players last year to have 100 possessions as a pick and roll roll man and over 70 possessions as a pick and roll ball handler. Now, to be fair, he was in the 13th percentile when it comes to being a pick and roll ball handler, so it wasn't good, it wasn't pretty, but it does kind of show the versatility that he does have offensively. He can attack mismatches. He can attack defenses when they're in rotation and scrambling. He has a nice little running floater that he can go to help beat bigs. And when the Hornets go small and he's the 5, it is kind of interesting. They have a 102.9 offensive rating in the half court when PJ Washington is the 5. That's not a remarkable number. That's not a groundbreaking number. That's not an earth-shattering number, but it is much better than their normal offensive output in the half court, which is 93.8 points per 100 possessions, an absolutely fucking terrible number. He does some interesting stuff offensively. Immediately, one of the things I noticed and liked about PJ Washington, a lot of his threes moving. Not necessarily stand still, setting his feet, firing, splash. And I'm proud to be an American. Oh wait, he's not in the American Army. That's the Finnish Army. Larry Markkinen. All right, why is this on the screen? Oh yeah. That was just during the game. A nice little finish right there by PJ Washington. He's not the best finisher around the rim. His finishing numbers are underwhelming. You'd like for him to finish above the rim a little bit more, but he does have some flashes and some nice layups. That's a nice reverse layup right there over a good shot blocker and Walker Kessler. There's some playmaking flashes for PJ Washington we'll talk about in the coming minutes. But there are some moments where he kind of freaks out a little bit offensively and makes some bad passes or some tough shots. You know, it's going to happen from time to time. He's not somebody you want necessarily, generating offense. You don't want him to be an offensive hub. It's a nice little skill set that he does have, but there are times where it looks a little bit rough. That's a nice play by Kelly Olynyk. I thought this game against the Jazz was kind of interesting for the Hornets because PJ Washington just kind of sat in the middle of the zone in this one. This was a game where PJ Washington had 43 points. He attacked the zone defense. The Hornets put him in the middle. And he's got a lot of things he can go to. Again, that little hook shot right there. He likes that. Again, the ability to attack off the dribble is nice. Little catch and go immediately. Draws the contact on John Collins. Going to the free throw line. Running the floor in transition. He doesn't finish above the rim a lot. I'd like to see a little bit more, but he can get up there. Ah! Colin Sexton caught ball watching. I almost said cock ball watching. Colin Sexton caught ball watching. PJ Washington drifting up to the wing a little bit. I can't speak. That's a 3. I believe PJ Washington is in the 70th percentile in transition. Gets out, runs the floor. Big, athletic, can finish around the rim. Again, would like to see him finish above the rim a little bit more, but that's a nice little move right there in transition. Little Euro step finish through contact. Hello? Where's the foul? Nice little action right here from the Hornets to get PJ Washington a good look from three. Little down screen from Nick Smith Jr. He's pretty nice off of screens. They don't do it very often, but his numbers are good. The eye test backs it up. He looks really comfortable in those shots. Again, in this game against the Jazz, the Hornets had PJ Washington sitting in the middle of this zone. They didn't get the ball to him as much as they should have, but good things did happen. I mean, they got murdered in this game. Good things did happen whenever the ball got in the middle. It's a nice little pass out by PJ Washington. Good read. Brandon Miller, who's been really good lately, gets a good look for three, just misses it, but you like that shot. Again, sitting in the middle of this zone right here. Little floater alert before Walker Kessler can get out there to contest. He just looks comfortable with these floaters. It's like a nice shot for him. You can tell that he really practices it and he really perfects his craft. PJ Washington is a smart player. Kind of gets overshadowed being on such a dog shit team with a lot of not smart players, no offense to them. That's a great relocation right there for PJ Washington. A nice find by Ish Smith and a knockdown three for Mr. PJ Washington. Great job relocating there. Good read right here by PJ Washington, the recipient of this dribble handoff. Little screen from Brandon Miller. Drives, good pass to Nick Richards underneath. Fouled to the free throw line. I got to be honest with you, man. I know a lot of people are interested in Nick Richards after watching these games. Hold on a second. Look at the handles right here. PJ Washington, slick. And one. I feel like this angle doesn't do it justice. Ooh, nice moves. A little behind the back. Good finish. Why is the quality so good? That's one thing I noticed in League Pass. The Hornets' quality is so bad. So terrible. I feel like we're in 2007. How about this little play right here? Nice finish by PJ Washington, curling off of this Nick Richards screen. Finishing over a 7-footer and Larry Markkinen. Good touch. Curling off of a Nick Richards screen again. This time, Miles Turner. Ugh! Again, it's not always great. The highlights look great so far, mainly due to the fact that I did clip the first set of clips from his 43-point game. He does have moments where he can get caught sort of in a rough spot offensively, or he's jumping for no reason and he's got to make a bad pass, such as the case right there. Fortunately, it didn't end in a turnover for the Hornets. It ended in a brick, but still, not a pass you'd like to see. Nice job right here. Benedict Mathurin, a little off balance immediately. Little jab step. Good patience. Nice spin move. Scoop layup. Unfortunately for PJ Washington, he's often playing the small ball five, so very rarely is he able to attack mismatches where the guys are just smaller than him. But when he does a pretty good job at it. Good job sealing off TJ McConnell right here. And a nice pass by Nick Smith Jr. Good patience. Good finish. A Hornets possession that's going nowhere. PJ Washington's got to get in his bag. Get in his Duffy. There's like a joke somewhere there about George Washington in a bag. It's not coming to me. George Washington was a president, right? Was he a president or was he a NASCAR driver? Who am I thinking of? Step into the three. Hand down, man down. Mama, there goes that man. Smart cut right here by PJ Washington. A good pass by Miles Bridges. Fouled, going to the free throw line. Good find here in transition by PJ Washington, finding Nick Richards under the rim. Easy assist, little touch pass, boom. Nice work. You know, there's not a lot of negative plays here. The reason being is PJ Washington's downfalls offensively is that he's just inconsistent as a shooter. He's inconsistent as a scorer. He's a smart player. He makes the right reads, the right plays. Just sometimes the shots aren't dropping. This is a tough move right here, folks. A tough move. Pushing the ball up through the defender. Very Paul George-esque. And one. Just smart when it comes to drifting to his spots, filling in from the top of the key to the wing. It's a great look right there. Good kick out by Theo Maledon. This game was, I don't remember when this game was from, but you can just tell RJ Barrett's on the court, Emmanuel Quickley's on the court. Spoiler alert, those guys aren't there anymore. Good, tough, aggressive take right here by PJ Washington. Julius Randle a little off balance on that closeout. Enough space for PJ to drive, get fouled, go to the free throw line. Again, sometimes it's just misses. Is this the wrong read going up for this? Not necessarily. Mitchell Robinson's a great shot blocker. Maybe you could have dumped this off or something to your center and Mark Williams, but ultimately, it's not a bad take. You just missed it. Hey, broadcasting companies, we don't want an interview to take up 75% of the fucking screen. All right, get rid of it. We want to watch the game. Again, sometimes he just gets caught in a bad spot and doesn't really know what to do with it. I'm not entirely sure what the game plan was there. But it ends in a turnover. Again, sometimes out of control without a plan. Driving, trying a little wraparound pass. Just the pass didn't get there. It's a fumble. He gets it back. Driving and then just throwing up some bullshit. You know, the heart's in the right place. That's kind of what it comes down to for me. Because then you get moments like this. Good drive. Great read here. Good pass out to Ish Smith. who's able to get to his spot. Ish Smith's not really going to shoot that three. Otherwise, that would have been, a great look. Instead, Ish Smith gets to his spot, little mid-range jumper. That's an assist for PJ Washington nowadays. They count that as an assist for sure. For sure. Look at John Stockton's assists. Some great individual defense here from Nickeil Alexander-Walker. But again, a pretty good read by PJ Washington. Reads Cat. The moment he sees Cat commit to LaMelo on the wing, kicks it out to the corner, where JT Thor is going to brick the three. But it's not a terrible look. And it's a pretty good read by PJ Washington. When his three ball's falling, he's letting it go with confidence, and it looks good. Right in transition right here, just pulling immediately, right in Cat's face. This was the game where Cat had 62 points in a loss, and it was hilarious going back and watching it because the whole time the Minnesota Timberwolves announcers, they could feel it. It was really funny. The whole third quarter, they were like, all right, guys, we need to stop going to Cat so much. We really need to win this one. You could just tell it. They felt it. Again, he likes this little running floater. This is more of like a little hook shot, but good attack. He looks comfortable right there. Comfortable with the ball in his hands. That's a good thing. Defensively, I think PJ Washington would benefit greatly from being on a better team with better players and, more importantly, smarter players. He jumped out to me as a good team defender, good in help, knew where to be at the right times, and somebody who is more than capable of holding their own on the perimeter. Is he the quickest, most athletic guy? No, he can't get beat by these quicker, fast twitch players, which is just pretty much everybody in the league. These guys are next to impossible to guard. But I do worry that he could be a bit of a tweener because while he is 6'7" and he does have a long wingspan, he can get bullied by these bigger forwards. Karl-Anthony Towns bullied him. Julius Randle bullied him. These stronger, bigger, more physical players will have their way with PJ Washington. Which is why PJ Washington at the 5, I mentioned how good it was offensively for the Hornets. It's absolutely terrible defensively. They have a 125 defensive rating when PJ Washington is playing center. They give up 111 points per 100 possessions in the half court when he is playing center. That is in the first percentile. That's not a percentile you want to be at. But again, he does some interesting stuff defensively. A smart defender, a good team defender, and I think in the right setting, he could really flourish. This is good help right here by PJ Washington on this Markkanen drive. But again, the problem is sometimes he's just a little too small. Markkanen's not the strongest guy. He is a lot more physical, I think, than people realize. But it's just enough to knock PJ Washington off and really kind of just prevent this from being any real contest whatsoever. As I mentioned, a smart and very capable help defender. Really good job right here. Clarkson curling off that screen. PJ Washington does a great job sticking with him, contesting that shot, going straight up. Just got a text from Mark Cuban. The trade is finalized, guys. PJ Washington is in fact a Dallas Maverick. That's what you just heard, that little text tone. Jordan Clarkson shoves PJ Washington off again. Sometimes the physicality can get to PJ Washington a little bit. Clarkson bumps him off a little bit. This is one of those plays where the old heads look at it and go, back in my day, that would be a fucking technical foul, and the offensive player would be kicked out of the league. Right? We know they're lying. They didn't watch. Grandpa. Having World War II flashbacks. Nice job right here by PJ Washington. We'll notice throughout these clips that the Hornets are just so bad defensively. The rotations are so terrible. Maybe PJ's a little late to get out right there on Olynyk. That ends up being an offensive foul on Markkanen, I believe. But a nice job right here, helping on Markkanen originally, and then rotating out on Olynyk. Just forcing him to up fake on that, and then eventually led to a little offensive foul. I'm honestly, where exactly is the offensive foul? I don't know, but that's what they called. Okay, sorry. I'm just now remembering. That was an offensive 3 seconds they called, not an offensive foul. Because I remember at the time I was watching it like, what? Good job right here, picking up Colin Sexton, just contesting that jumper, making life difficult for him. Some bad rotations here, and I'm just going to assume this is PJ Washington's fault. I'm going to assume Nick Richards was telling PJ to get out right here. I just noticing in this game against the Jazz, where they scored 80 points in the first half. The Hornets bench was just furious anytime anything happened. So PJ's a little bit late to get out on that contest right there. Clarkson misses the 3, but he's able to follow it up because PJ's not there to put a body on him or really contest at all, and it leads to a putback. This play is not at all PJ's fault, but I do want to point it out just to show you guys how fucking horrible this defense is. I mean, it really is awful. What's happening here? I mean, what's going on? They're trying to double Markkanen, but who's doubling? Cody Martin's just sitting in the middle of the paint. Miles Bridges is just standing there. I guess he's in help, but what's Cody Bridges? What is Cody Martin doing? That leaves Olynyk wide open. Nobody gets out. Just look at everyone's reaction. I'm telling you guys, these bad defensive teams, I do get a lot of joy just watching. Look at Steve Clifford's reaction, PJ's reaction, the bench's reaction. Just hilarious. Great job right here, moving his feet. Samoan Fontecchio, not necessarily the most athletic guy, but he's a little bit better than people think. And PJ just making his life as difficult as possible right there, staying in front, not letting him get blown by. Pretty good job right here by PJ fighting over this John Collins screen to get out on Agbaji in the corner, contesting that shot. Still a pretty decent look, but that contest almost certainly altered the shot a little tiny bit. Just a nice sequence right here. PJ being active on ball against Markkanen, sticking to him, then eventually going to switch onto Colin Sexton. Just does a nice job staying in front of him. This leads to an ugly shot for the Utah Jazz and a block by Mr. Nick Richards. Again, this isn't really P.J. Washington's fault at all. I mean, it's God's fault in a lot of ways for making P.J. Washington 6'7", and Steve Clifford's fault for having him run center whenever a bunch of guys are out. Granted, no, I don't think Nick Richards played in this game. I don't think Mark Williams hasn't played in a while. Just Jalen Smith, just bigger. That's really it. Nothing really wrong that P.J. did. Maybe he could have been a little bit more physical on this box out, but I mean, what are you going to do? Bad gamble here that's going to have the Hornets rotating. It's going to lead to a wide open Buddy Hield 3, not the guy you want to give up an open 3 to. Probably shouldn't have gambled on that pass. Pretty good job right here on the perimeter. Buddy Hield does get past PJ, but PJ does enough to let Nick Richards get ready to block that shot. Who blocked that shot now that I'm looking at it? I think he might have just lost it. Again, sometimes his size disadvantage is pretty apparent here. Miles Turner able to seal him off down low, and that's just a cakewalk to the basket. He does try. Like, he puts the effort in, he tries, but sometimes there's just not really anything that you can do. This is good individual defense right here from PJ. Nick Richards has to help. PJ does a good job just fronting Miles Turner and then getting out on Nembhard. Nesmith is going to get fouled here, but that's a good defensive possession right there by PJ Washington. Great defense on this screen. Great work. Great contest without fouling. Good job. Again, he's pretty good on the perimeter. He's pretty good moving his feet, but there are times where guys can just beat him. And that's going to happen in the league. You know, not everyone's perfect. Not everyone can be perfect defensively. That's just a really nice aggressive attack right there by Nesmith. Here, a couple plays later, PJ does a much better job staying in front of Nesmith, preventing a drive. Leads to an ugly shot later in the shot clock for the Pacers. Julius Randle did have a pretty good game in this one. So did RJ Barrett. So did a lot of Knicks players. This is a really bad Hornets defense. That's a good job right there, though, by PJ, making life as difficult as possible on Julius. Julius Randle just imposing his will right here. There's really not a lot you can do against this. But again, it's going to be a problem. If you're trading for PJ Washington in hopes that he can be sort of this physical defender that can match up against some of the more physical players in the league, I think you might be a little bit disappointed. If you already have a guy who can do that, then I think you'll really like PJ Washington as a help defender. But again, or a team defender, just a really solid team defender. But again, if he's like supposed to be your best guy defensively and you're going to have him play the toughest matchups and guard the toughest matchups every night, you're going to run into some problems, I think. Nice little get back here, though. Gets a block. Julius Randle driving, trying to do his thing. Great job right there. It's a great block. Yeah, I see. I can see kind of what some old heads are talking about. What's the foul here? PJ gets bullied, shoved into the fourth row. What's the foul? I guess just watching this a little bit slower, I think he did kind of poke out a little bit of a pelvic thrust right there into Julius Randle's space. Yeah. Again, the small ball stuff for the Hornets didn't really work with PJ Washington, but it's not really his fault. It's just, it's not really a recipe for success in the modern NBA. If you're going small, the goal is to just outscore your opponents by a lot. And the Hornets don't really do that. And they don't have like the wing defenders that make small ball lineups really work. But he does try. Like, he does a good job. He tries to play as physical as possible. Sometimes it's just not enough. Arby's happy hours. There's nothing happy about an hour at Arby's. And you will be spending an hour on the toilet after Arby's. And there's nothing happy about it. But anyways, PJ does a really nice job here. Gobert's going to try to seal him off. No, sir. That's a steal. Again, at his size, just doesn't really provide the rim protection you would want. Opponents shoot, I think, 5.5 percentage points better at the rim when PJ Washington contests. But again, it's not for a lack of effort or trying. Nice little slow step here by Kyle Anderson. It's what he does. And a good job, a nice adjustment by PJ Washington midair to end up contesting the shot and altering it. A big reason why Cat went off in this game for 62 points or whatever it was PJ was in such a deep drop when Gobert was doing anything that it just led to these wide open threes anytime Gobert would set a screen for Cat. And the Timberwolves love doing this, so it's not really the Hornets' fault. This is like one of the wrinkles to the Timberwolves offense that is actually really interesting. And the Hornets did a much better job in the fourth quarter once Cat started to soil himself, and the Timberwolves went on to lose this game. Physical. These physical players they're going to give them a bit of a rough time. It's a foul right there. Cat to the free throw line, just going right at him. And the size difference is noticeable. Like, what is Cat, like 6'10", 6'11"? Is Cat a true 7-footer? PJ's listed at 6'7". Cat looks like 6 inches bigger. Nice move right here by Cat, backing down, spinning and going quickly Just not a lot you can do. When Cat gets like that, to be fair, there's just not a lot you can do. Not a lot of players in the league who can stop him. But this is one of the downsides of the Hornets going this small. Here comes Cat again, aggressively attacking PJ. No option but to foul. Cat, again, just going right at him. Baseline, dribbles right through him, almost like no one's there. A little off balance on that closeout. Ooh, nice move. How on earth did the Timberwolves lose this game? I have no idea. It is interesting that he can play the small ball five. And there are matchups where it makes a lot of sense for him too. But in a bigger matchup like this, if you have to rely on PJ Washington to be your five, it's probably not going to go well for you. Even if you're like reliant on him being a four, it's probably not going to go well for you, right? In this game, in PJ Washington's defense, in this game, there was no Nick Richards. There was no Mark Williams. So he was pretty much forced to do it. How about the effort here getting back defensively, though? One of the players the most back behind the play, getting back, bumping Rudy Gobert, and then boxing out. And look, you could tell Rudy Gobert's a little pissed off. Been a little bit pissed off by PJ Washington being a pest all night. Throws him off right here. Get the hell off me. Just a nice attack right here by Cat. Not a lot you can do. Just got to tip your cap. He missed it, though. Holy shit. It was a good look. The Hornets ended up winning this game because they just did a much better job on these screens, on these pick and rolls. Great job right there by PJ Washington. Alters that Kyle Anderson floater, then a kick out. Good job by LaMelo staying home too. Leads to a steal. And then, of course, this infamous last play where Cat definitely got hacked. But this is a great job by PJ Washington coming over to contest. Vertical, straight up, hands in the air. Even if he didn't get fouled, he's probably not making that shot. But he definitely did get fouled. So how do I view PJ Washington? As a trade target, he's entered that weird realm where I'm like, wait, why would the Hornets give him away for free? But also at the same time, I'm like, if I'm an opposing team, I'm not giving up a lot of value to get him because I don't think he's that big of a needle mover. A team like the Clippers is really interesting. A team that has had reported interest in him. Because you can make the argument that they are a power forward away from being the solidified favorites to come out of the West. And PJ Washington kind of fits what they need. So they have one first round pick that they can trade. Do they feel like this is the piece that pushes us over the edge? We'll never have a better chance than this. Let's go do it. That does make some sense to me. For the Dallas Mavericks, another team that's been interested in him reportedly, does giving up a first-round pick make sense at all? No, I don't think so, because he's not changing anything for you. He's not making you into a title contender. It would be much more interesting if you add PJ Washington now and then go out and get a bigger fish in the summer. Now you have PJ Washington at the 4 and that bigger fish at the 3. The problem is, if you trade a first-round pick for PJ Washington, you won't have the ammo to go out and get a bigger fish. But if it was Josh Green and another contract, which is what's been rumored for PJ Washington, I do think that would make some sense. Josh Green, I think, would flourish in Charlotte, a team that likes to play fast and up-tempo. Josh Green's a very good player in transition. I think he'd actually fit pretty well next to LaMelo Ball. And his fit's kind of questionable right now in Dallas next to Luka and Kyrie. I've had some Mavericks fans ask if he could be the Aaron Gordon for the Mavericks, a player who comes in and just changes your defense and becomes one of the best defenders in the league. No, he's not nearly that good defensively. If PJ Washington's your 3rd, 4th, 5th best defender, you're doing really, really good. If he's your 1st or 2nd, you need some upgrades. You need some upgrades. Let me know what you guys think. The trade deadline is only days away. This league is an awesome league. It rains. Oh.